Yeah, so you can go to the NetMinion and you can browse the ACI course and you can download the content. It's there on the website. Okay, so basically, how we get started on the ACI, we will first going to talk about the what is the difference between the traditional network. What is the thing that ACI is bringing on the table when we had been doing traditional networking for past 15 to 20 years like that. Then, so first we will discuss about the differences between the ACI and the traditional network. What are the major benefits we achieve via the ACI? Then we talk about the ACI architecture and the building blocks. What are the components of the ACI, like leaf and spine switches, two-tier architecture, epics, how we can connect the epics, leaf and spine switches, all those things we discuss. And then we will also discuss about the hardware. What is the difference between the spine hardware and the leaf hardware? What is the main thing that makes a switch as a spine or make the switch as a leaf actually? Then slowly we will move towards the ACI access policy. Let's say you need to connect to a server in ACI. What are the configuration you need to do? What are the policy you need to create? That we slowly start looking into that. So now, and what about the logical constructs? So like there's a tenant, then there's a BD. So maybe some of you are already aware about the ACI. Maybe you got some experience in the ACI. So you might be aware there's a tenant, there's a VRF, there is a BD configuration, there's the EPG configuration. So those logical constructs. So basically the physical constructs and the logical constructs we will talk in detail. Then we will also talk about the packet flow, like how the endpoints got learned in ACI, how the actual forwarding happened from the one leaf to another leaf. Let's say that if both of the destination is connected on the same leaf, how the forwarding will happen. If they connected on different leaf, how the forwarding will happen. So if there's a layer 3 forwarding, how it will happen. If there's a layer 2 forwarding, how that will happen. We'll talk about that in detail in the packet flow. We will cover on the ACI codes and the releases, like what are the recent codes, and with the codes, what are the how ACI evolve actually, like from version 1.1 now, there's version 6. So how it evolves, what are the features they have added, and which is the how to check like this version is stable and features and all. Those we will discuss. Then we will move ahead and so. Virtualization VMware, leave this, first come to the external networking. So first I will explain you how you need to extend the layer 2 out from the ACI, which is the L2 out. So basically, let's say you build a new ACI data center, but you have a legacy data center with the Nexus 7K. Maybe they are in HA, Nexus 7K1, Nexus 7K2, and that is you need to connect to the ACI. How you can connect, how you can extend the layer 2 from the legacy to the ACI or vice versa. In case there are some workloads already in the legacy, or initially all the workloads will be in the legacy, and new workloads you are connecting to the ACI fabric. So how you can make that movement from the legacy to the ACI, how you'll migrate those workloads. Ultimately, how you will migrate the SVI from the legacy to the ACI build data center. Ultimately, you wanted to get rid of the Nexus 7K. So all the migration need to be done. So that we will talk in details with the configuration about the L2 out. Then we will talk about the L3 out. And in between, we will also talk about the EPGs, contracts, and the scope of the contracts. Like what is EPG? What is the contracts? Why we need contract in ACI? And what are the scope of the contract? Let's say there is one endpoint in tenant 1 and there is another endpoint in tenant 2. Then how you can create a contract and what will be the scope of the contract? Then we will move to the L3 out. So we will discuss in detail why we actually need a L3 out. What is the requirement? Why we need that L3 out? Then we will talk about the components of the L3 out. We will implement that in our lab, and then we will discuss in detail what are the various control in the L3 out, how you can advertise this your subnet, local subnet outside that L3 out, and how you can receive that, and what are the things. I mean, the manipulation. There are many controls in the ACI. You can tweak that those things in detail. So, like there is external subnet for external EPG, export route control subnet, import route control subnet, shared subnet, all those things. In the same, while I will be talking about the L3 I will L3 out. I will also explain you how the route leaking happen in the L3 out. Let's say. There is a one subnet in tenant 1 and there is another subnet on tenant 2. So if they want to talk to each other, how you can do that? So there can be many purpose. There can be some resources in tenant 1, there can be some resources in tenant 2, and tenant 1 and tenant 2 is a separate isolator. I mean, they are isolated, it kinds of a standalone switch separately. So how you can make the route leaking and all, because some deployment need that information. In the L3 out, we will also talk about the various routing protocol, how we can implement, like if you wanted to do just a static route, how you and where you can configure that. If you wanted to do OSPF or BGP, how you can do that, what will happen, how the route will be redistributed. If on the L3 outside you are running OSPF and on the fabric you are running BGP. So all those things I will explain you. Then I will talk about the integration of ACI, I mean the application policy infrastructure controller, which is the APIC with the VMware vCenter. Let's say you wanted to integrate your vCenter with the APICs and you want to push the VLAN information from the APIC to the virtual environment. How you can do that? So that is your ACI integration with the VMware Center. Then will come about the hardening and security features, your rollbacks access policy, your monitoring, like how you can enable the SNMP, how you can enable the TechS, how you can create a rollback access policy, giving or assigning a privilege, local radius based, all those things we will discuss. How you can harden the ACI fabric, so that we will discuss under the ACI fabric security. Monitoring, logging, and fault management. We will see how to identify the fault, how we can isolate the fault, how to troubleshoot the fault, and then there will be a whole lot of discussion on the fabric upgrade, like how we need to upgrade the fabric, how we can minimize the downtime, what are the things pre-task, what are the post-task, validation and everything. Do we need to upgrade the epic or leaf and spine? CIMC we also need to upgrade. What are the things that we need to take care before hitting the upgrade? Those things I will explain you in lot of details. How we can use the tools which is already there in the ACI for fault isolations, those we can talk. So that will and so this will be the course content at the high level. But my uh, style of teaching is I always include more practical examples, because I am doing day-to-day work on the ACI. So I will include my exposure, like I was doing this, so I face this challenge and how I come to overcome that challenge, how I really troubleshoot in the production environment. So those things. So concept, and then the practical part we will do. So even while explaining the contents, I will put a production scenario so that you can correlate to your environment. Or even if you are not working currently in ACI, you will have a solid understanding. And also, if you are looking for interviews or wanted to switch your job, you can leverage those scenario, because many times interviewer asks, can you explain like what is the last problem you face in your environment and how you can isolate that? So you can give my examples as yours and you can clear your interviews like that. So now about the lab. So with respect to the contents, we will have the lab. First, I will give a demo on the lab. I will explain you how we can configure, how we can go step by step, and then you need to practice on by your own. So all the main labs I will cover in the demo. I mean during the course lifetime, and small labs I will give you as a homework. So this is how I used to deliver the trainings. I have done many trainings, uh, corporate one as well as the retail one. Okay, so what happened, guys? This is just a small demo as a technical part of the ACI. I'm giving you just to get make you aware that this is my delivering style. So when you first build the ACI fabric, like you connected your leaf, you connected your spine switches, and you connect your apex to the leaf switches, and you turn on the switch. So either you can access the console of the apex with the console port itself, or there is one more software which is known as a Cisco Integrated Management Controller. SIMC we call it, as in some environment you will see SIMC is also there. So from the SIMC you can launch the KVM. So SIMC is kind of like you understand as a open gear for any networking devices. So consider SIMC for as of now. I mean, just to give you a high level overview if you are not aware about the ACI and all. So from the SIMC you can launch the KVM, and you can do the initial configuration wizard. So if you are aware about the wireless LAN controller or the F5 or in many other devices, initially they need certain settings. Similarly, application infrastructure controller, they need certain settings. Like they need the fabric name, they need the fabric ID, they need the VTEP pose, out of band management IP address and all. So we will discuss that in detail when we start our batch. This is just a demo class, so I'm not going to detail on that part. So once you configure the basic settings on the console, then you will browse the epic via its out of band management address. So first time, so obviously as a security HTTP is blocked, so you will have to browse via the HTTPS, whatever the host name you have given, or with the IP address. So first time you will launch, then you will get this page like that. What's new in the 5.1 5.21G. So this is 5.2 version of the Apex. So and here at the bottom you can see the begin first time setup is there. So you have to click this. And always mind that Epic is a bit slow. It's not like a CLI thing. So it always takes some moment to load the page. So don't be impatient. Please bear with that. Now you can see here on the left hand side top corner, setup overview is coming. That means now you are going to complete the setup. The initial configuration which you did via console or via SIMC, that is just to provide the management IP address and all, so that you can access the GUI of the Apex. So now fabric membership. So other thing, BGP, NTP, DNS proxy, this you can do at any point of time. But this fabric membership is very much important, because here you are going to register whatever the Apex have discovered, whatever the Apex have discovered in the fabric. So Apex has a protocol. It's support LLDP and DSCP. So via that it discovered the entire fabric. Like how many leaf switches are connected, how many spine switches are connected, it discover. Now in the setup page we are going to register them. So we just need to click on the begin. So basically, we will discuss in our course like how Epic discover the fabric. Obviously, Epic is a centralized management. So all the configurations and policy creation, you have to do via Epic itself. So you don't have to log into the CLI of the leaf switches or the spine switches. You have to log in on this controller. So after the discovery, now you have to do the registration. So you can see the serial number will come and the model number is come. Okay, and the pod ID has given one. And node ID, node type is leaf. By default, it will discover that it is a leaf switch or it is a spine switch. Name and status. Once I configure the name and click on the registered, Then it will give you the status that it is active or it is not inactive. So we will see. So node ID, let's say for time being, I'm giving as a 101, and leaf name I'm giving as a leaf 1, and I'm going to select the leaf. Although even I don't select the leaf, it will take by default. Is remote virtual tier 2 leaf? I'm not going to discuss as of now because you guys are new and we are in demo. It will just make you confused. So don't not going to discuss about the VPC pair. Also, I'm not going to do. Just I will give you the basic thing. So serial number is already there. I have given the node ID. I have given the switch name, and I will click on the submit. So you can see in the action, it is coming as a registering. I mean, it is the process of registration and the status is unknown. Once the Epic register this leaf switch by name leaf 1, the status will come as a active. So once the leaf switch 1 is discovered and registered, it will go to the, see here, it is coming as a discovery. Watch this space. Okay, so now once it is registered, it comes under this section registering registered, and the status is discovering. Okay, so what I will do, I will refresh the screen. Sometimes you need to refresh the screen. Allow this a couple of minutes after every switch because it take time.
Sorry, sir. How to get to IP, sir?
Which IP? This one you are talking?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this, because we have not seen the initial configuration, which I told you that whether you can do via the CIMC or the console. So it asks for a VTEP pool actually. So this IP is from the VTEP pool. So as I told you that Epic has two features by default enabled. One is LLDP, another is DSCP. So whatever the VTEP pool which you will define during the initial configuration or the wizard, from that pool, it will give one IP space to the switches as it progress discovering the switches. Okay, यानी कि एक लीफ डिस्कवर करेगा, उसको एक आईपी देगा, फिर दूसरे स्विच को डिस्कवर कर, जैसे यहाँ पे लीफ इसने डिस्कवर कर लिया, अब ये स्पाइन में चला गया. ठीक, अभी देखना. So let me just for differentiation, let me give a higher ID to spine. So 201. I am going to give a name as a spine one. Select the spine one. Is virtual and all, I'm not going to discuss now, and click on the submit. And I will allow this guy some time so that it can get, because this is a time taking process. In the background your LLDP, your DSCP is working, so obviously it's going to take time. So from the VTEP pool, you will see that 10.0208.64 other IP, this guy I have already registered, it will give to the spine. Let me try to give register this one as well. So 202 spine 2. Okay, so see, you can see the first one become active. Okay, it's a good state actually. It's in showing green active. That means the leaf one is properly discovered and registered by the Apex. Okay, now second one is spine one, which I did earlier. So you can see 10.0208.64 slash 32 one IP address it has given to the leaf one, and the next switch it has given to 65. We can refresh here. So also refresh here. So this is GUI base. So whole application policy infrastructure controller, we do the configurations or policy creation via the GUI itself. So in GUI we need to refresh the screen to show you the actual current status. So now you can see these two switches are showing as a inactive. So nothing to worry. They will change their status after some time once they will get synced. So let's go to the. So in our lab we have a two leaf and two spine. So one leaf is already done, two spine is already done, last leaf is here. So I have given 101. So this I will give 102, select the leaf, and leaf 2 I will give. So this is time taking process actually. Even in the production environment, when you will be doing for the first time, this will take time because, and this is a one time activity. Once all your fabric get discovered, I mean your leaf and spine by the application policy infrastructure controller, you don't need to worry about that. So you will be ready to configure and all, connections and all. So now three switches are active. I'm waiting for the last one, and you can see it says given 11 IP address 64, 65, 66. So I'm expecting 67. It will give it to the last leaf switch, which is the leaf 2. Okay. Google Chrome sometimes create problem. Just give it 2 minutes to this guy. So let me do one thing in between while it is processing. So let's say this is our small network, just two spine and two leaf and one epic, although it's not a standard, but just for illustration, explaining the things I'm saying that it has a connection to both of the epic. So what happen is, let's say, okay, so all of them are become active. 10, 0, 208, 64, 65, 66, 67. Okay, so let me finish this. Continue. I click on the continue, and you can see this is a green tick mark. That means this is done. BGP and TP we can do later. That's not a problem, and we will close. So this is how the application policy infrastructure controller, the APIC dashboard look like. So basically, it is the APIC from where you push the configuration to the underlay your leaf and spine switches. So let me just give you one quick overview on that. So let's say During the initial wizard, you have given 10.0.1.0/16 as a VTEP pool. So what happened when you power on this connected the spine one, spine two, leaf one, leaf two like this? This is basically your how the spine and leaves gets connected. This is known as a class architecture or two-tier architecture. So or you will see some people say the spine layer, spine leaf architecture. That is also true. So these words used interchangeably. So don't get confused with that. All are the same. Now apex you connect to the leaf one and leaf two, and during the initial wizard, you configure this 10.0.10/16 as a VTEP pool, virtual tunnel endpoint to endpoints pool. Now, this API comes with the LLDP and DSCP by default enable. You don't need to enable anything. So what happened? The API will send a LLDP request to the leaf one, okay? And via LLDP, it will discover about the leaf one, okay? And then it will assign one IP address 10.0.1, let's say dot one to this guy /32. Then from the leaf one, it will go to the spine one and it will assign another IP address 10.0.1.2, and then from the spine one it will come down to the leaf 2 and give one IP address from this VTEP pool 10.0.1.3, and then again it go to the last switch which is the spine to 10.0.1.4/32. So in this way it discover the fabric. So while LDP discover a leaf one, then go to the spine one, then leaf two, and then spine two, and assign one IP address from its VTEP virtual tunnel endpoint pool, which further used for the data plane forwarding, which we will discuss in detail during our uh, course. I mean, in the batch. So let's come back here. So you can see now the epic is ready, and here you can see all the three. So basically in the production grade network there are more than one epics, okay? Because if one epic went down, then you won't be able to manage, right? Your entire you won't be okay, just 1 minute. So in production gate network, it's in lab, it's okay, you can have a one epic, but in the production gate network you need a three epics at least for redundancy and resiliency purpose, okay? So you can log in once you log in with the out of band management IP address and you complete the registration and part. This dashboard will look like here. You can see all the faults and all related to this as the critical fault, this is the major fault, this is the minor fault, this is just a warning. So this is the summary, and here you can see the leaf and spine, are they healthy or not? If they are not healthy, their score is less than 90%, so it will start showing as a red amber color or orange color. And even if it is more than let's say 50%, 60%, so it starts showing as a red. So that's how it represent the health score of the fabric or leaf and spine switches. Here you can see all my epics are in good state in service and it's available. Also, you can log into the click on the okay 1 minute. Let me show you the inventory or the yeah. Click on the fabric and click on the topology. This is a bit slow. This happened actually. Even in the production network, you will just that based on the configurations and all, it will respond slow. So basically, you click on the fabric and the inventory. In the topology, it will give you a graphical image how the leaf and spines are connected. And when you expand this pod one, it will give you like how many leaf switches are there, how many spine switches are there. So let's say if you are working or new to the ACI, and you in your network there is a ACI, and you wanted to know how many leaf switches are there, how many spine switches are there, so you can come here. So in the course, I will take you to each of the tab and explain what is their function and when we can use that. So here you can see I clicked on the fabric and the inventory and then click on the topology. So you can see three controllers. This is a pod. So basically pod is a container. We name it as pod because sometimes you may have to, in DR you may have need to have one more pod. So you may need to have the ACI multi-pod. So basically pod 1, pod 2 kind of thing actually. So pod 1, so in pod 1 we have a three controllers, uh, two leaf and two spine. If you click on the topology, so see how you can see there are three epics and how they are connected. So if one epic to connected on the leaf, one epic connected on the leaf two. You can also see there this here you can see it's showing as a green. Here you can see it's showing as amber because it's 90% as I told you. So this is how you can determine. Also you can just expand this pod one, you can see all those things. So you can expand the leaf one or leaf two and see how many um, interfaces are there, what is the chassis informations, LLDP informations. Okay, so all those things you can see by looking into the dashboard. So any questions here, guys? Everyone is fine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so basically, so today is just a demo. So I'm not going further on that. If you have any questions related to the contents which we would be covering, related to lab, or related to this topic which we just discussed now, you can speak. Anything related to the registration with the NetMinion and all, that you can ask to them directly. Now, one few things more I wanted to tell you that we provide the recordings, we provide the study materials as well, and you will have access to them. So those things are pretty much covered. No questions?
No, no, sir. No.
I have one question. I
Mhm.
just want to ask that how ACI is making difference from traditional network like legacy network to its ACI network. How it's making difference? What the benefits
Yeah, that's a
using
great
of
question.
ACI?
Okay, so that's a great question, Mandeep, and good that you ask. So I will not going to discuss much in detail because that is in the contents which when we're discussing in the batch. But yes, let me give you some high level overview. So basically, the one difference you can see, spine and leaf is a two-tier architecture, and your traditional network is your three-tier architecture, right? There is a core, there is a distribution, and there is a access. Now assume that in the access layer you have a two server. Okay, one server is having IP address 10.1.2.1, and another server is having a IP address 10.1.3.1. That means these two servers are in two different subnets, right? So 10.1.2.1 wanted to speak to 10.1.3.1, maybe any RDP or any communications, I mean. What will happen from the access layer? Because 10.1.2.1, if you wanted to reach to the 10.1.3.1, it needs its MAC address. ARP will happen. ARP happen where? At the always at the layer 3. So if your SVI is at the core layer, what will happen? Packet from the access layer goes all the way via distribution switch to the core switch, and there it nothing will happen, and then again it will come down to the access layer and gets forwarded to 10.1.3.1. Actually, this is not in the case in the ACI because all the leaf switch contains the SVI or the gateway. So you don't need to go to the spine and consult like routing part or ARP part is just, and there are a few more features like there's a local station table and global station table that makes really forwarding a very optimized in ACI compared to the traditional networking. In traditional networking, there is a STP. There's no STP in ACI. In traditional networking, there's a flooding problem. You need to isolate that. You need to work on many of the configuration to, if something happen with the broadcast or something. This does not happen with the ACI. So ACI has a optimized way of forwarding actually. Okay, even if some migrations happen, I mean, let's say compute guys did the vMotion, ACI will quickly converge and there will be no problem with that. In traditional networking, another difference is from your point of view as a network engineer point of view is you have to log in into each device and do the configuration. That is box by box configuration. In ACI, this is not box by box configuration. You just need to log into the epics and you need to create the configuration. Epic will push it to the leaf and spine switches. So no matter there is a 2 switch or there is a 40 switch, you don't need to worry about. Just you need to log in there in the epics and you can do the configurations. Okay. Security wise, traditional is blacklist model. ACI is a whitelist model. Lots of things you can do in the ACI with respect to the automation. You can connect your REST API with the Apex. You can do create an Ansible script or Python and push on the Apex, and Apex will just push those configuration to the leaf and spine switches, which is a bit difficult in the traditional network actually. Also, HTTP blocks, you have the link, only one link gets forwarded at a time, even though you purchase a 210 codes and paying for them, but one at a time you are using only one. So that is you are using just 50% of the uplinks in traditional networking. In ACI, your both of the links get used. So, and it's high backbone. Your spine support 40 to 100 Mbps. Sorry, 40 to 100 Gbps port. So spine and leaf gets connected to each other via 40 or 100 Gbps. 40 they people don't use in the production network. 100 Gbps and leaf switches they support. I mean, leaf switches when they wanted to connect to any server or any load balancer or wireless LAN controllers, they can have a 1 Gbps or 10 Gbps. So they can have a lots of variety based on the form factor of the leaf switches. But the backbone, which is the leaf and spine, they are high speed connectivity. So forwarding is really fantastic. And also the policy which you create, you can create with respect to the application deployment, because any of the applications, any of the network that we build that support the application. That is the purpose of the network. Otherwise, why customer will spend so much money on the network part? Only to facilitate the application, right? So you can have a network centric approach, you can have application centric approach, but in either of them, the application deployment is fantastic actually. So these are a couple of the differences I have explained you high level. In the batch, I will create a diagram and explain you in more depth. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if we talk about a spine leaf architecture, it's all about Nexus switches, right?
Yeah, it's Nexus switches. It's Nexus 9K.
And if I'm understanding correctly, then Epic is like controller, like we have controllers in SD-WAN architecture. So just like Epic is controller, or it's other one. It's hardware, I think.
Yeah, epics are hardware, but it's act as a controller. The form factor is
Okay,
hardware,
so
but the functionality is controller.
it's a physical hardware only, or it can be hosted on cloud also.
It can be hosted on the cloud also, but then it will be a problem because if your leaf switches, spine switches are in the on-prem and you put your controller in the cloud, then there will be latency. How it will control? So there is a separate solution for the cloud in the cloud because now Cisco is also promoting its one of the solution which is known as ACI anywhere. So in the ACI or in the Azure or AWS also you can have the whole ACI fabric, but that is altogether a different thing. Okay, guys. So if you have any other questions, you can ask. While we are good to close. Oh, look like only Mandeep has the question. So no problem, guys. Okay, I hope this has been informative for you. So I have already explained about the contents and the how I would be teaching and what are the topics I'm going to cover, what are the examples and all those things I have covered. I have also given you one short demo. Although I mean, yeah, obviously we cannot go in depth in the demo because of time constraints. But yes, in the course when we will be discussing, obviously we will go into detail. So fine then, if you guys don't have any questions or any concerns, so we can go ahead and just close this session, and maybe you can share your feedback or your interest to the NetMinion after this call and go ahead with.